the story here. But until then, Dr. Frieda Birnbaum is here to catch us up a little bit on what the facts are alleged to be in this case.
Yes, so here are the sequence of events that did occur. We're talking about Chan, who was intoxicated, as well as Martin, and they both go back to their hotel room. And during that time, there's arguments. And Martin slaps Chan in the face, so Chan says, and takes his gun. And Chan falls to the floor. And then the gun goes off. And Martin is seen leaving because Chan takes the gun and runs after him and shoots 10 times and hits Martin 5 times in the back while Martin is running away. So this is something that is a crime of passion. Now there's evidence that the bartender said that Chan looked very angry while they were drinking. And there was recording of Chan being very argumentative, as well as the fact that after all this, it is said that Chan said that Martin was jealous and aggressive. So the real question really is, who was jealous and who was aggressive? We don't know, because Martin actually is not here to tell us.
Okay, so let's unpack what you just
Yes.
said. The source of this version of facts, as you understand
Yes.
them to be, the sources are
Yes.
Chan. He's got a major bias in this case to make the facts look as helpful to him as possible, right?
Yes.
He's the accused.
Absolutely.
The bartender who made observations.
Yes.
A video recording from
Yes.
where? The hotel or the bar?
From the hotel.
Was that in the hallway?
Well, possibly in the hallway. They had a recording of Chan being argumentative.
So any evidence of Martin, besides being intoxicated, but Martin being argumentative or slapping him or taking his gun or anything comes from Chan.
Absolutely.
And Chan has a motive to make his victim the aggressor.
Absolutely. So this is the problem. We really are hearing one side, and it is making sense according to Chan. But maybe it's the reversal. Maybe Chan's the one that was jealous. Maybe he was argumentative, as evidence has shown. So this is a crime of passion. This is something that happened, that they were both intoxicated, they were both arguing, and they were both angry, so it seems. And then Chan went ahead and took it upon himself to fire this gun 10 times while this man was running away. And you know, they don't even know each other. They only know each other for one day.
Well, they weren't partners, right?
They weren't partners.
They worked together, but not daily.
This well.
So, and this gun, what kind of gun was it? Do you know?
I don't know.
But I think it was a gun where you had to pull the trigger each time.
Wow.
I think you had to actually pull the
So
trigger
that's
each
saying
time,
even more.
as opposed to well, but sometimes these semi-automatics can get very fast. Okay, so you see why jurors can be deadlocked. Some can see it, some can believe him and say, yeah, he was fearful. I believe him, and others can say, no, this really smells. This was murder. Do you see
Yes.
that? What is your opinion?
I'm having difficulty with that, to be quite frank with you.
With Chan's position.
With Chan's position, because as you know, we only see one side of the story. And then there are witnesses, there's evidence that are against Chan. So we have that more than the other evidence against Martin. I don't see any evidence except for the fact what Chan is saying, which could make sense, but we have nothing to prove that that actually did happen.
And I also think that a jury should take into consideration that Chan is a trained police officer, presumably, trained to size up
Yes.
a potentially fatal encounter, because police officers are in these positions more than the regular layperson and should be able to judge
Absolutely.
when they are in fear of serious injury or their lives.
Yeah, so I was just listening to the tape, the video of Chan being questioned. When do you take your gun out? At what point? If someone is harassing you from across the street? If somebody is taking your gun from you? When do you do something to be proactive and to protect yourself against that person? Well, I can tell you that it isn't when someone's running away from you. when someone is not threatening your life, that's not the time. So it was really absolutely, if anything, we can say here, that's a fact, that this was absolutely bad judgment on Chan's part to run after him.
And
as a trained
intoxication
policeman.
is a factor in determining, somebody's state of mind as well. Maybe it
True.
could knock it down. I mean, do you see this as murder or manslaughter?
Manslaughter. This was a crime of passion of the moment. There was arguing, they were intoxicated, it was a heated experience, and they were trying to get at each other in the worst possible way. And as officers, they had the ammunition, the equipment, and it's been shown, research has shown, when there's somebody very angry and there's a weapon there, they'll use it. Or if there's no weapon there, they won't use it. So they had these resources that was very easy for them to be able to
That brings
go ahead.
me to the cases I cited at the beginning of
Yes.
this discussion. Colleen McKernan, there was a weapon there in the house, so
Yes.
she used it. Curtis Reeves, a retired police officer, had a gun in his pocket. Chad
Yes.
Olson threw some popcorn at him, leaned over him in a menacing way, so he pulled his gun out and shot him.
That's right.
Stephen Jones up in Flagstaff, Arizona, was feeling attacked. He was attacked by a gang of students. So he ran to his car and he got his gun. I mean, the guns were available, so they used them.
Yes, and police officers are under a lot of stress, let's face it. They're dealing with criminals, they're dealing with violence, and they're also known to have a lot of domestic problems at home because, when you come home and you have all these stressors, what do you do about them? And as I'm talking to you, I'm realizing, maybe there should be a course, how to de-stress yourself, because there's actually a high volume of domestic violence when these police officers do come home, and that should be part of helping them how to deal. I'm not saying they should kill anybody, of course. I'm not saying they should have this violence and that they should get away with it, of course, but how to deal with these de-stressors would really be a great a beneficial factor
I bet
for them.
some police departments do deal with that, and they do, of course, have department therapists that officers can see. But do they do that? So I
they may need
understand.
more than obviously
Yeah.
because there is a high volume of this going on. Yes.
And it's not just police officers; it's other people in stressful situations. And then you take contact
Yes.
sports. I think there's probably a correlation
Absolutely.
between domestic violence and contact sports.
Yes.
Football players, boxers.
That's right.
Only because their dispute resolution, what they get paid a lot of
You're
money for, is
100%
to smash into each other.
100% right, and research has shown that to be true. That when you are in an aggressive field where you're working, you bring that aggression home. Even attorneys, I hate to say this, attorneys often do not make good partners as well because they're intense and they bring that home. So we're talking about a broad spectrum of different types of occupations where there is involvement with stress. Businessmen, I'm not saying just attorneys, I'm not signaling anybody, but different types of
Your point is an
stressors.
interesting one because I saw myself changing after my first years, my
Oh.
first 4 years of being a litigator in the Manhattan DA's office because I was constantly in court, right, and I was fighting with judges. I'd fight
Yes.
with my witnesses, I'd fight with my adversaries. I mean, everybody. I was like, gosh, I felt like I was always under attack and on the offensive, on the defensive. And I found that I was taking that outside. So,
Yes.
I was more confrontational than I needed to be with a store clerk who didn't give me the right change or something. I was like, okay, this has to stop. And I moved into investigations intentionally. I got out of street crime and moved into political corruption and organized crime investigations, which was intense but a different type of pace. And you weren't bombarded by it just wasn't the same experience. I did long
That's right.
investigations, and it was a little calmer for me.
Yes, so it brings out different types of personas and people depending on what they do. And so when you are doing something that's stressful, being an athlete, being out there, you bring that home as well. And business people, attorneys also have these stressors. Do you know that professional people are less stressed out? And Their relationships are even better afterwards. There's less violence because of that type of atmosphere that they're in as well. So police officers are absolutely on top.
So they say yoga, meditation, all this
Yes.
is a de-stressor.
Yes.
So we're waiting to